Welcome to Readings from the Animal Kingdom with Kareema from Pet Care Magic. I'm an animal communicator, a Reiki master who specialises in animals, and an intuitive psychic. And I like to combine all of those modalities into channeling messages from the animal kingdom for myself and for others. We live within a community of not only people, but a community of many, many wild animals, as well as many domesticated animals. You might have dogs or cats or fish or birds or rats or mice or whatever in your home, tarantulas, if that's the sort of animal you love, in your home. But then there's also a huge number of animals outside of your home, from big to small, up in the sky, down in the earth, even under the earth, in the trees, right around us. And all of those animals at any particular point in time may or may not have a message for you. And I'm going to invite you through these readings done every week on a Sunday, hopefully, to listen to that message, take what resonates for you, and open up your way of thinking over the following week into how that message does or doesn't fit into your life. It's okay if it doesn't. It's okay if only some of it does. That is 100% up to you. The animal kingdom has no egos. They don't mind. They just hang around out there, and if they're given an opportunity to communicate a message, they will. Each week will have a particular theme to it. Before I start the reading, I will meditate on what animal I think has the overarching message for that week. And I will then choose which of the numerous animal-themed decks I have to work out which deck I will be using for that reading. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm assuming I'm recording. Yes, I am. My apologies for not getting live on Sunday, Sydney time yesterday. It hasn't been a terribly good weekend. In fact, it hasn't been a terribly good week. And so far, it hasn't been a terribly good year. But anyway, life is what it is. But I always find that when I get onto these sessions and I play that intro that I've done up some time ago now, I start to feel more relaxed. I start to put into perspective what life is about. We're in the middle of some really stinking hot weather here in Australia. Nothing uncommon for this time of the year. It's just, it is what it is. It's not easy to handle. Myself and the dogs are absolutely wiped out. So I didn't do a lot of meditating on what deck to use. I also didn't do a lot of meditating on what cards to pull or themes I wanted to do. I just opened myself up to the universe this week and went, it will be what it will be. And interestingly, the crystal that I'm going with to sort of look at the overriding thing with this this reading, and the three cards that I've pulled this week, again from Scott Alexander King's World Animal Dreaming deck. I've pulled three very strong, powerful, what I call the power animals. And the crystal that's come out is the tiger's eye. Excuse me. Oh dear, I always start yawning when I start to do these things. I have no idea why. The tiger's eye is one of my favourite crystals. I do have a tiger's eye pendant around somewhere, and I really don't know where because it goes and hides on me, but I think I might need to bring it out and actually hold on to it a little bit today. But the tiger's eye is really, it's a crystal or crystal stone. I don't quite exactly know what it is, and it really doesn't matter. But it's one that I use and I find very, very helpful when life has felt very negative, both on a personal level and on a community level. And it's something that tends to appear in my life when I have been plagued with negative thoughts, when I'm really struggling to keep my head above water. Regular listeners of this will know that I do have mental illness issues. I never hide it. I do have depression, strong anxiety, chronic PTSD. I do live on the edge of suicide versus non-suicide pretty well most of the time, and certainly that was part of the issue on the weekend. And the tiger's eye sort of tends to raise its head back up again when I am really having unwanted thoughts
when I'm not positive, when I'm not inspired, and it comes back up and it says, you can't. It doesn't say you will get that. It says you can. And it sort of forces me to look at things, to look at what's going on around me and say, and tap into the calmness and the clarity, try and balance my emotions, try and balance my intuitions, try and see things clearly. Usually it also says to me, and it certainly did over this weekend, rest. Just get some rest. And I had a really good night's sleep last night, which is unusual. Um, Calm thoughts, and rest is a big part of that. Get away from work, and whatever work looks like for you. Um, Start to listen to intuitions. Know that all is well and only love surrounds me. Well, that bit I doubt. I certainly know my dogs love me, but that's all that in this world loves me. Um, it's also about communication and avoiding unnecessary turmoil. So to me, it's always about simplify your life. Um, Communicate with others. Well, I don't do that at the best of times. Try to avoid it if I can, because I know when I'm in moods like this, I get very snappy. Um, it also says express your views honestly and make sure there's no misunderstanding. And it says you will gain admiration and respect for doing so. Well, that bit I'm not so sure about, but anyway, it is what it is. So that's the card that's coming to us as the overriding card. And when I played that intro, what I call the YouTube video intro that I played just before this, the elephant slow moving across the screen, and then the blinking from the Black Panther and the whatever, the antelope, or whatever it is that's in the water, it tends to help me breathe. And I've always found that with animals, that's what they do. They help me breathe. They help me recenter. They help me get that perspective back. And although that intro video is only 57 seconds longer, it's sort of something that always helps me as I'm going into these readings, particularly in days like today where I really don't want to be here, where I've forced myself to do this because I've made a commitment to doing it. And I know that once I finish this, I will feel better. So without further ado, let's go into the first of the cards that came out today. And we'll get it in a minute, I think.
I'll invite you now to click pause on the video, look at the card A, B and C, and jot down either in the comments below or on a piece of paper, wherever you think is appropriate, which card resonates most for you. This is not something you have to do within seconds. It might take you a couple of minutes. At this point, you might walk away and say, I'm not going to do this today. That's all very fine. But is it A, B or C that most calls to you?
And you're not supposed to see the card before you've had a chance to think about it. But anyway, so as I said, the three cards pulled today from this deck are what I call power animals. The chimpanzee is one of them. And the chimp is sort of supposedly very, very human-like. It's been used over millennia for Planet of the Apes and that sort of thing. And it's supposedly one that we share a lot of DNA with. I know we share more DNA with the sort of gorillas, orangutans, and that sort of thing. But the chimp is one that humans seem to be able to connect better with. I think the smallest of them, I think they're more almost human-like in what they do. But they are a power animal. The chimps reminded me today that it is okay to be reflective. If you go and watch the chimps at the zoos and things, I'm unluckily have never seen them in the wild, but certainly seen them in some pretty good zoo enclosures. There's a couple of good ones here in Sydney, Taronga Park Zoo in particular, where it's a very modern enclosure. It wasn't always like that, but it certainly has been for the last 20, maybe 30 years. They're big, sort of like an island with a moat around it, and they've got lots of trees to climb on. It's a very natural habitat, but you often see the chimpanzees just being very reflective, taking the time to just sit quietly. You know, you'll often see someone just sitting there and staring out, or the mums very quietly just going through the fur of their babies, or even going through their own fur, or adults, you know, grooming other adults within the group, but doing everything in a fairly quiet way. And that's, I'm sort of going back. As soon as I pulled this card today, I was able to go back to memories of enjoying being at Taronga Zoo and watching the chimps just live in the moment. And I think that's what this card's trying to say to me, and to us today. It's just live a bit more in the moment. Just be still, be more grounded. They're very grounded. They do go up into the air, and they do go up into the air when they need to go up into the air to sort of see what they need to see from a higher level, but they're also capable of being very grounded, and being very, very contemplative. If you look at this chimp here, he's sitting, she feels like a he to me, sitting with just like arms folded, and sort of is virtually saying to me, it's okay to just sit quietly and contemplate, to think, to be grounded, and to live within the moment. And that they're powerful animals. They are very powerful animals. They can do a lot of damage if they really want to, but they generally don't choose to. But they know that it is okay to sit within the moment and to be very wise about their contemplation. Nothing much else from the way of the card. I'm drawn to the graphic that's on here. I don't quite know what that graphic means. It sort of almost has a medieval feeling for me. The chimps, I think, draw from some very ancient energy, ancient world energy, ancient animal energy, ancient earth energy. That's all I can get from the chimps right at the moment. So let's have a look at the second card. So the second card is the whale. Again, another a power animal. And I'm drawn to the graphic that's on the whale. That is, and sort of, let's just compare it. I don't know whether I can go back. Let's just compare it to the graphic that's on the chimpanzee. Similar. Similar. The points of the graphic on the chimpanzee go up into the air, whereas the points on the graphic on the whale go down into the earth. But they're very, very strong graphics. And the whale itself it's a very strong animal. Again, it's saying, I got live in the moment again. I'm not sure whether that's a chip still. I'm getting a bit of chatter coming from both of these together, which is really hard for my brain to work with, because we've got where the chimpanzee lives and where the whale lives is quite different, and sort of they're laughing at me because it's like, oh, you humans having to be so logical. They're talking about how their energies can be joined together, no matter whether the fact that they're quite disparate creatures. I mean, you doubt very much whether chimpanzees ever met with a whale, and vice versa. I doubt a whale has ever met with a chimpanzee, at least not in the physical plane. Certainly in the metaphysical plane, they probably have, because all of their signals go up into the atmosphere and then go wherever they need to go. And that's the Reiki master in me that says, you know, energy will go wherever energy needs to go. But they're both of these, the chimpanzee, the whale, and the tiger's eye. They're very powerful elements, items animals and elements and items. They got a lot of power about them, but they've got a lot of strong, subtle, confident power about them. They don't need to be. They don't need to scream blue murder about, you know, how confident and powerful they are. They just are. They just did. The whale as such, you know, like the whale. Think about what's happened to whales over all the years. Humans tried to hunt them out of existence, but they're now back in very large numbers. I'm very lucky to live not too far from the coast, where between June and about November, we'll see the whales, particularly June, July, August, we'll see the whales going north. And at any one point in time, you can go out to out to any of our headlands not very far away and sit, and you will see within that period of time, you'll see whales. Certainly not now. It's a bit in January, too early in the season, but you'll see whales. You'll see them breaching. I've wasted a lot of time out there watching the whales breaching and just going north. They're creatures that say, I don't need to prove to anyone my power. I have it. I don't need to show it. I don't need to push it. I just have it. I just need to live it. This is why I call them, another one of the world's power creatures. And to me, both of these animals today are saying, and not just to me personally, but they're saying to humans, to me personally, very much so, but they're also saying to humans, you've got power, but choose to use it wisely and choose to use it in an intuitive and subtle way. Don't try and be overpowering with your power. And I think that's, as humans, that's what we tend to do. We tend to try and take power and control and force it, whereas both of these animals are saying it doesn't need to be forced. So let's have a look and see what the third card was. And the third card is the moose. And the moose is, durability, dependability. Again, a power animal. They, should try and argue with a moose. I haven't seen any. I have never seen moose in the wild. I've probably seen them at various zoos and things, although they're not that common in our zoos here in Australia, because they are more of a northern hemisphere sort of animal. I've seen plenty of YouTube videos of moose out on the roads and connecting with cars and basically saying, I've got a right to be here, and if you don't like it, go away. But they do it again in a very subtle, quiet, powerful way, but they don't feel the need to really push that power. They are, again, an ancient creature. All of these animals, the chimpanzees, the chimpanzees probably the least, but the whales, the chimpanzees, and the moose, they're very ancient creatures. They carry ancient wisdom, and all of them have seen big changes, particularly the whale and the moose, and they've weathered big changes. When I see moose, I'm also always drawn to bisons. To me, and I know there's quite a bit of difference between them, but to me, they're very similar styles of creatures. They are big, they're dependable, they're heavy, they're predictable. They carry incredible amounts of ancient wisdom, and they're asking us to be grounded and to tap into that ancient wisdom. Grounded is a word that keeps coming up for me today. Go back to your roots, and I'm just thinking the same thing with the tiger's eye. Go back to this calm, groundedness, solidness. The earth. It's very, very much a grounding reading for me here today. I mean, that's certainly what I needed. I don't know whether that's what you need, but it's certainly what is coming across for me in all of these. Be grounded, be solid, just be more live in the moment, more go with the flow than actually trying to force the world or our lives to be whatever we think they should be, that to roll a bit more with the punches. Like the whales and the moose, they've had to go more with how things evolved around them, and they've had to sort of live with that and weather the storm was a big sort of strong one that came up. We haven't had much in the way of storms here lately, but it certainly feels like we should have. I know there's 2 cyclones forming up off the northern, up off the north coast, northern part of Australia, so up around Queensland. So good, 2,000 kilometres away from me, so a long way, and they won't affect me. But this time of year, the weather is incredibly volatile and unpredictable, and all these animals are saying what will be will be. That no matter what happens around their worlds, everything will be okay. You just need to weather it, ground through it. Don't let it get to you. I think this is sort of thing that it's all this reassurance is what I'm hearing happening today. It's always difficult when I'm doing these readings. Are they readings for me or are they readings for everybody else? This feels very much like a reading for me because it was exactly what I needed to hear this morning after the very nasty weekend that I've had. Probably not much else I can add to all of that. I think this is a reading where you need to sit with it and hear it and then just meditate into it. Be calm. Try and allow it to give you the sense of calmness. So it's been going for this YouTube video has been going for 23 minutes. Take it as 23 minutes of hopefully time that takes you out from all the noise that's going on around you. A time to just sit quietly and contemplate and do what the animal kingdom tells us always, which is just be in the moment. Just be here, be calm, be quiet, and feel the healing that can come from that.
Thank you very much for being here with me today. I hope you found this enjoyable. It is for educational purposes only. If you do want a fuller reading, then I do those obviously online, so you can be anywhere in the world. Just go to petcaremagic.com and you will find the link to book a time to have a fuller animal reading. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification buttons if you want to be notified when I do more of these each week. Thank you, and I hope you all have a really great week.